as we're seeing now a police pursuit in Los Angeles. I'm going to take you out to this video courtesy of our Fox 11 affiliates. There is a suspected stolen SUV leading authorities on a pursuit across LA County. SkyFOX is over the scene on the 10 freeway, as this is just off the 10 freeway. California Highway Patrol in pursuit, possible stolen SUV. Let's see if we can listen in here on Live Now from Fox to commentators from the area to give it a little bit better description. Looks like it's just the helicopter sound that we can see, but you can see this pursuit ongoing here. Officials did not say where the car may have been stolen from. Again, this is over top, and you can see police right there behind this suspected stolen SUV as they are just off the 10 freeway there, potentially turning or pulling over. Police not going very fast, only 15 or 16 miles an hour through this traffic, this work zone there on North Soto Street. There, 21 miles an hour, not going very fast of this suspected stolen vehicle. This from our Fox 11 affiliates in Los Angeles. As we're continuing to follow this chase here on Live Now from Fox, I'm Andy Mack. Thank you so much for joining us here as we continue to follow this story of a potential stolen SUV in Los Angeles. Not moving very fast in this location there. We're still trying to get more audio. Let's see if they have more audio here on Fox 11. Let's see if we can tune into them. As you can see, they're still going very slow. You can see the car may have gone over spike strips. As you can see, the front wheel is running pretty low there, not going at a high rate of speed, only less than 20 miles an hour. As you can see, the Fox vision there showing in on this vehicle and on those tires as police closing in to potentially spin out this suspected stolen SUV there. Some nice work from the Los Angeles Police Department. You're viewed, live, raw, and unfiltered here on Live Now from Fox. This is what we do, is we cover this major story as that attempt to stall this vehicle did not work, but you can still see the front left tire there on this vehicle, very, very low, might have gone over spike strips. As we're continuing to follow this, is 25 miles an hour. If you ever had a flat tire, you know you can't go really that fast at all on a flat tire, and it certainly causes a lot of damage. The back left tire seems to be still inflated as this pursuit continues on across LA County of the suspected stolen SUV, leading authorities there on this chase in Medford Street there, east of Los Angeles. Less than 20 miles an hour. Not certainly the fastest chase we've ever seen here on Live Now from Fox, but we're going to continue and just watch this unfold as police, probably not very far behind, as you can see, not going very fast, taking a left. We haven't really seen very many other cars on this Friday evening, as it's about 6:10 on the West Coast. You can see some smoke starting to come from that front left tire, is potentially getting down to the rim. Perfect. Well, we're going to continue on here, and hopefully we get some on air from our SkyFOX, and hopefully they can have more insight in what's going on. Let me get over there and making sure you see this here live, raw, and unfiltered.
Really get down to the nitty gritty, so we'll see. But what we're not seeing is a lot of other vehicles out there. The speeds are down. The officers tried to do that pit maneuver one time. Perhaps they'll give it another go here. But with these tires really disabled now, it's going to be interesting to see what their next move. But what a successful move with that spike strip. Again, all officers want to do are end these pursuits in a safe manner so that no officers get hurt. The suspect, hey, they're the ones who are creating the danger, leading officers on this pursuit. And of course, all the innocent people driving home from work, walking, bicycling, keep those individuals safe too. And it's got to be a split-second decision on when to try to bring it to an end with another pit maneuver attempt.
Wow. So this pursuit started in the East LA area. Now we're sort of headed back into that area. A lot of times the driver will look for a familiar place to park the car and potentially get out. At this point, though, this driver's not going to have a choice sometime soon. This thing looks like it's ending anytime soon.
Both front tires smoking pretty good here, meaning down to the rim there. And there's a person outside their vehicle making a hand gesture. I don't know if you saw that as it passed there on Eastern Avenue. We'll see. And as you mentioned, Alex, that's right. A lot of times we will see these suspects go to a neighborhood. Hey, they know friends, they know relatives. Perhaps they live in that area. They know that, hey, there's a little alley here off of 5th Street I can duck into. Maybe I can evade police by making a right turn down Main Street, so that they are familiar with where they typically hang out, where they typically drive. But, oh, look at that tire.
Whoa.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Are we going back on the freeway
like this?
Let's see.
Look at all of
Wow, look at that thing just shred.
Oh
my!
Look at that.
Literally on the rim.
Wow.
And now we're getting
and going
back.
onto the freeway.
Yeah.
It's still moving. This is a good commercial for a Durango, I guess, right?
Or
wow.
The wheels. Yeah.
Something
Jeez.
else.
All right.
Something
well,
else.
here we go onto the freeway.
And now it's on the 10 eastbound, so going the opposite direction from when we first picked up the pursuit, heading westbound through the San Gabriel Valley, towards Boyle Heights, towards the 5 and 10 freeway. But it's the eastbound side that's really jammed up. As I mentioned earlier, most people are heading out of downtown LA, out of the west side, into the San Gabriel Valley, towards the Inland Empire. It's the eastbound commute during the afternoon and evening that's busy. It's the westbound in the morning rush for people coming out of the IE.
Why not go up on the
All right, yeah, might as well. Got to get around here, right?
It's also a good commercial for the spike strips and the power of the spike strips.
Yeah, and
literally blew the tire right off. And now we're on the right shoulder, desperately trying to get by traffic, riding on rims. CHP there, following.
And maybe now that we know that it started in this neighborhood in East LA, look at this.
Whoa.
Wow. They thought ahead, not only because of the backup on the 10 westbound, and Soto Street was the first off-ramp that they could attempt, the suspect could attempt to exit, but knowing that, hey, this individual, this is where we started this pursuit, it was in this area, let's see if he or she goes back to that area. They threw that spike strip down on the Soto Street off-ramp from the 10 eastbound, and wow, it was successful. That was an LA County Sheriff's helicopter that came into our frame there.
Yeah, the green and yellow chopper. All right, so now we're getting off the freeway again and winding around. Still has somewhat of the tire left on the driver's side, but that's probably only a matter of time, and you can see that tread whipping around. And I think it is going to come right off.
It's something else that that vehicle can still, and the driver can still circumnavigate.
I mean, can you imagine what this must feel like trying to drive this car and your hands on the wheel and the sounds and the smell of the smoke and everything else, and then to be, you know, spun around and to still be going. It's quite something.
And why they run? Because they're not in custody, because there's a chance they could slip away. There's a chance they could stay out of custody and not go to jail. The vast majority of them, and with these suspects being taken into custody, but we have seen some able to evade police and continue on their way. So this driver's gonna do whatever they can without any rubber there. Look at that, without any rubber, and still able to keep that vehicle straight.
And you think about it, and so often, too, these are people that this is not their first experience with law enforcement as well, and they may see this as a bit of a joyride before they usually go back behind bars.
And for geographical bookkeeping purposes, this is now on that stretch of the 710 where there's been a lot of stories in the past years about extending it up into Pasadena. This is near Cal State Los Angeles, near the intersection with the 10 on the 710 freeway. And this is where the 710 does come to an end, just north of Cal State Los Angeles there.
Well, we're not seeing it, but on the other side, the shredding does continue. So there is the aftermath of the spike strip on the driver's side. So it's probably only a matter of time. Of course, it's only a matter of time until we see that side completely gone as well, and then nothing but rims on the front end of this Dodge Durango. Stolen vehicle pursuit, that's what you are watching, what we've been following since the start, since the top of the 6 o'clock. This all started from LASD in the East LA area. CHP picked it up. There was a spike strip, and that's why the tire is gone. And there was a pit maneuver. Yeah, and nonetheless, the driver keeps going.
And I'm surprised they haven't tried another one with the speeds as low as they are. It is a bit more difficult, the larger, the heavier the vehicle, to conduct a successful pit maneuver. And again, we mentioned it earlier. It's the acronym for the Pursuit Intervention Technique. Officers try to make that intervention, try to disable the vehicle, spin it out, nudge it on the back side, either the passenger or the driver's side, get it into a 180, get that vehicle surrounded by other units. Well, the pit maneuver looks somewhat successful in that spin out did occur, and I'm sure we will be showing video of that at a later time, into a 180, but then the driver, even with this disabled tires, was able to right itself, the driver was, and continue on their way. And that's where we are now, 710 freeway northbound, near Valley Boulevard, north of Cal State Los Angeles, heading now into Alhambra, South Pasadena. The next option they would have is they would get closer to the 110, the Arroyo, the oldest freeway in Southern California, in South Pasadena, and hop on that. Looks like brake lights are working there. A little bit, yeah. Yep. And there's a great close-up look there. Now making a right or eastbound turn on Valley Boulevard.
And because those windows are illegally tinted, we don't really have a sense of whether there are other passengers in that car or not. We have not also gotten a good look at the driver, whether the driver is a man or a woman. But we do know this driver has some driving skills. To be able to do all this,
no question,
on rims.
And look at how slow, and the officers are kind of keeping a distance.
Why? That was going to be my question. Why this strategy? Because we have a wide open street for the most part. Speeds under 25 miles per hour. Why are they back so far?
Safety for pedestrians still, and perhaps they know that it's just a matter of time that this vehicle is going to be completely disabled and have to pull over to the right. But they're deploying units up ahead. They're great at planning, getting into intersections before the pursuit arrives there. This is the eastbound side of Valley Boulevard through the community of Alhambra. Valley's an east-west major thoroughfare just north of the 10 freeway. And yeah, you could see that driver's side tire.
Yeah,
wow.
The tire's hanging on for dear life.
That rubber's going to be ripped off soon. But lots more traffic now, too, approaching the intersection of Grandview Drive. Our Extreme Nav system is always on it for you folks at home. You could see exactly where the pursuit is, the speed at which that vehicle that's being pursued is moving. And as we have a quick moment there, lower left corner of your screen, that's a QR code. Download our app. You can watch these pursuits on your personal device if you're away from the TV. And we're about to watch here live on Fox 11, covering this pursuit, another tire about to lose all of its rubber, down to 2 rims this SUV will be.
Well, let's show you why that is happening right now. We've got some video from a little bit earlier of the moment that the pit maneuver, the spike strip. Let's show the spike strip first. This is the spike strip.
Look at that.
You see this was on the side of a freeway. They deployed the spike strip.
Soda Street off-ramp.
And the driver rode over it. That's why the wheels are the way that they are. We've also got some video we want to show you of that pit maneuver, if we can bring that up as well. This is when they tried to nudge the vehicle, and it worked for a second. Here we go. Okay, so we're looking at that. We see the tire.
Here it comes.
This was a little bit earlier. Here comes that pit maneuver.
Boom, just a little right nudge there.
Tap it. It spins. We don't see everything because of that building, but somehow that driver regains control and is able to keep driving, and it's still driving right now.
Bam. There it goes. Yeah, upper left corner. That's live, folks. Earlier recorded is down below there on the right. Seeing the disabled tires and also seeing, here's another shot of that pit maneuver. That it was successful in that the vehicle was spun out somewhat, then unsuccessful, and then it didn't stop the pursuit. And this is now a slow speed chase because of the damage to those two tires, those 2 front tires there on Fremont Avenue there through the far west end of the San Gabriel Valley, off the 10 freeway, now north of the 10 freeway.
Speeds averaging about 20 miles per hour. We do have that moment we also want to show you when the rubber literally flew off the front passenger tire as you're looking live, not live here, but this
Boom.
is that
Look at
moment,
that.
boom, just rolls
Wow.
off. This was when the driver was getting back onto the 10 freeway, if you can believe that. That was short-lived, and then back on surface streets where we are now. So on the other side, that is another damaged vehicle. That rubber's hanging on, but it's only a matter of time until that goes flying off as well. So here we are, 16 miles per hour. Rick, you point out that they are more of a reserved posture right now out of concern for public safety. That's always first and foremost. But this right here,
Pretty wide open.
Yeah.
wide open.
Yeah, it's interesting to see their tactics, but hey, these are officers, a joint effort by officers now in this area, CHP, local jurisdictions as well, to bring this to an end safely. And they were on it when they decided to deploy that spike strip on the Soto Street off-ramp, thinking ahead that, yeah, that's where we think this guy or gal is going to exit the freeway. Again, unclear the gender of the driver or if there's anybody else inside that vehicle. You could see the tinted windows there, but on two rims essentially now, the front two, and still able to make successful right and left turns to stay straight, right that vehicle, keep it going in the right direction on Fremont Avenue at San Clemente Avenue, around 20 miles an hour the speeds are.
The stamina and the endurance of the Dodge Durango.
Yeah, something else. Yeah,
On full
and to
display.
watch that that tire, that Michelin, come off that. Unclear if it's a Michelin, but to watch that rubber just literally evaporate, come off the that one via the front driver's side wheel.
So you see the black and whites following
Slowly
behind. As you point out, Rick, that they do strategize, as we saw them do, anticipate with the spike strip. So we can only imagine that they have that same strategy deployed now, looking ahead where this driver might go. And it almost seems like they're just waiting for it just to stop.
And that could mean that they are in contact somewhat with the driver. We hear that after the fact, after these pursuits end, that either the driver being pursued or somebody who knows the individual inside that vehicle, a connection to that individual who stole that vehicle, is making contact so that they know that a little bit more about the driver. And that could come into play in terms of what they are trying to do at this point, because they're giving that vehicle, that suspect, plenty of space, driving slowly, not trying to agitate the driver. He's disabled, she's disabled in terms of not being able to drive at full speeds like we saw when this pursuit first started.
And I mean, it is amazing that this Dodge is still going. You would have thought that this pursuit would be over, 10 minutes ago, but this driver continues to go. Are they going to pull over here?
Let's see what
Or
they
about to just try to make a right turn or
and
something.
Still a little bit of rubber hanging on to the driver's side front wheel there. You can see it spinning there. A real good shot of that, but down to the rim. And I'm surprised that we're not seeing more smoke, more sparks from that passenger side front rim, Alex and Marla.
Apparently, who needs a tire?
Yeah, there you go.
Not a great advertisement for the tire company.
Yeah.
Looks, this thing's moving pretty well, I guess, all things considered. So we continue to wait out this driver. I mean, this would, Marla, be the kind of area and the kinds of speeds where there might be room to try to nudge that thing one more time and bring this thing to an end. But right now, that is not the choice of law enforcement.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the threshold, I believe, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, is 35 miles per hour for that pit maneuver. So we are well below that. There isn't a lot of traffic, so that's why it's curious that they are
and the distance.
maintaining this distance.
And really not making any attempt to approach the vehicle. They were very aggressive when they tried that first pit maneuver, which was successful in spinning the vehicle, but not successful in ending it. So our research department is telling me that on these types of wheels, there's actually some secondary support rubber inside of the rim of these vehicles, of these SUVs, that help maintain those tires. So even though we're seeing, at least on the passenger side, that front rim, just down to the rim, that there is some rubber perhaps that we aren't seeing that is helping somewhat the driver continue.
Are you referring to the run flats, or is that something completely different?
No, it's different, and it's just something related to this particular model, this Mitsubishi Durango model here.
All right.
Well, there it is, down to that's a great shot of the rim completely exposed at this time, and the driver's side almost as well. On Vagabond Road at Monterey Pass Road, still on surface streets here. We saw the 710 freeway for a short time. The pursuit went on Soto Street, exiting the 10 freeway, westbound, heading into downtown LA on Valley Boulevard as well. Now in a residential area. And please, if you live in this area at all, as we tell you whenever we cover a pursuit, just stay inside. Keep it on Fox 11 here. Don't come out, don't wave or gesture at any of these individuals because they're clearly not in a good state of mind running from police at this time. They're dealing with some serious issues, could be under the influence.
Right.
So just try to stay safe inside your home and don't try to be a hero or anybody to agitate the situation even that much more.
And they might not know much about the driver. Again, when we've got a stolen vehicle, there's a chance that they don't know who's behind that wheel because they can't run the plates and figure out who that person is. The windows are really tinted in an illegal way, so they may not have a great sense also. Are they armed? Are there multiple people in there? And all of that could be impacting the decision that they make to stay back a little bit and give themselves a little bit of protection from this person. I mean, they got to be thinking, Marla, at this point, that time is on their side, right? I mean, when it comes to how much longer can this car go?
Yes, but they certainly should have and should be, Rick, also running that plate because the owner may know something about the suspect.
Yeah, it's possible because we find out sometimes after the fact that the suspect was in contact via a cell phone, some sort of communication device with officers, or somebody knows that's watching what's happening with that individual and has a connection with that individual and has relayed that to somebody at a dispatch center, which goes to the officers. They're tracking this from the air. We saw the LA County helicopter, law enforcement helicopter flying up ahead, and then the units on the ground there, now in a very windy residential area here of the San Gabriel Valley.
And the sun is setting as well. Not sure how that'll impact the drive going forward as well, make this even more challenging for this driver. But you've got these steep inclines as well in this neighborhood. And we do want to caution everybody. It's certainly tempting to come outside your house if this is all happening right through your neighborhood. It's a really bad idea because we don't know if this person is armed. We don't know if this car is going to spin out at some point because the driver loses control. You're really just putting yourself at risk for what?
And we can't see anything inside that vehicle. You can see, Marla and Alex, it is tinted on the illegal side in that you just can't make out if there's anybody else inside that vehicle. We can't make out the gender of the driver, but we could see that the rubber now is completely off of the other front wheel there, off the passenger side. So now we're down to the rim on both sides of this SUV being pursued. Started as a stolen vehicle suspect in the East Los Angeles area, made its way on the 10 freeway, off to the east, but then back west. There's somebody right there.
Recording it.
Exactly what we said.
There's somebody else. Go get him, they're saying,
All right, so time is now approaching 6:30. Why don't we reset for people that may just be joining our coverage here on the Fox 11 News Special Report. I'm Alex Michelson with Marla Tejas and Rick Dickert. We are looking at a stolen vehicle pursuit. That vehicle now driving just on its rims. And maybe, Marla, we can show everybody the video as to why it's driving just on its rims.
Yeah, so it was earlier, probably about 20 minutes ago, in fact. Shortly after we brought this to you live, this moment happened. This is on the Soto off-ramp, on the shoulder. CHP planned ahead. They threw out that spike strip. Sure enough, the suspect fell right into there, took their bait, and it was moments after this that then finally the results of the spike strip started to show itself, and that rim eventually flew off.
Yeah, and this is the attempt at a pit maneuver. So they hit the vehicle, They make contact. It spins for a few seconds, but doesn't spin all the way. We got that building blocking our view, but somehow the driver is able
right here,
to
within
keep,
seconds.
is able to keep going. And then we've got some other video as well of just look at this. The wheel literally
disintegrates,
flying off. That's happened
gone.
Both the front wheels now, and yet the driver continues, has been going for another 10, 15 minutes without the wheel, and continues to drive right now in the San Gabriel Valley in this residential neighborhood.
There's more people out.
With no clear end in
Kids.
sight. Yep. Getting their cell phone video, getting their TikTok, and thankfully nothing bad happened to them, but it still is a dangerous situation.
Absolutely, and like law enforcement, anybody in this area should assume that whomever is inside the vehicle is armed and dangerous.
And we've seen situations, as you mentioned there, Marla and Alex, where a driver, knowing that the vehicle that he's in or she's in is almost disabled, completely disabled, they'll panic, they'll jump out of that vehicle and see a moment and see the mom and her kids in the driveway there. Hey, maybe I can hop into another vehicle.
Yep.
Carjacking a vehicle so that they have a new fresh set of tires.
We have seen that happen multiple times live on the air. When it looks like their car is no more, they just try to jump into another one.
All right, so it looks like something might be happening here. I saw that.
Are they running out of
one
space?
unit.
Cul-de-sac?
I think that could be a dead end right there. Because look at how the homes are situated. Yep. Okay. Now we are in a cul-de-sac situation. Trying to get away.
Wow. Now they're done.
Look at that. And I'll tell you what. That's a deadly weapon. That vehicle's a deadly weapon. So if that driver, if that suspect tries to make contact with officers with their vehicle, that is a use of deadly force by the suspect.
Guns drawn.
Guns drawn.
Whoa.
And let's see what happens. Let's see if they choose it. They're not going anywhere. That vehicle's not going anywhere. The only thing that this suspect can do is try to bail on foot through that neighborhood.
Or try to go in reverse, right?
Yeah,
we've seen that.
Possibility.
When we've thought that it was all over.
But will they shoot? They shoot at it.
They got to, yeah, they got to completely block that intersection off. And the longer this goes, the more dangerous the situation goes. A standoff situation, they got to seal that area. They got to set up that perimeter. We talk about perimeters with wildfires. How about a perimeter with a scene like this? They got to make sure everybody's out of harm's way, not in the crossfire if there are shots fired. Looking into the windshield now, getting a slight glimpse. Looks like there's some damage on the front windshield, perhaps a little bit there as well, maybe.
Still hard to...
Slight glimpse. Looks like there's some damage on the front windshield, perhaps a little bit there as well, maybe.
Still hard to make out. Activity inside.
And we also don't know if there's anybody in that passenger seat, and if so, could they have been impacted by that collision with the police vehicle there? Okay, now we're getting aggressive.
They are being very aggressive here.
Whoa. So you also wonder what they know about who's inside.
Yeah, and they mean business right here. They want to bring this to an end. They want to bring that suspect into custody. They've already endangered a number of people on the road, walking, pedestrians. I can't tell if...
Whoa.
No.
He's trying to go in reverse.
He's trying to go reverse.
Yep.
Look at that.
We've seen that before.
So now,
oh my.
Officers have to make a decision how they're going to handle this. They tried to break that passenger window. Look at the smoke. Now the visibility's down. It's even more chaotic, the situation.
Whoa.
Those officers. So
more officers, and there's some residents out there recording it all. A lot of people in the neighborhood coming out.
This is a residential area in the San Gabriel Valley. The address here on this cul-de-sac is Sombrero Drive and Avian Drive. This is all thanks to our extreme nav. This is Monterey Park, where this pursuit has seemingly come to an end in this cul-de-sac.
Gunning it in reverse right now. Wow, that is something else there. So clearly the suspect is not doing what they've been told by officers. Clearly still trying to get away. Clearly still trying to evade officers. California Highway Patrol is still the lead on this. You can see all those 3 SUVs there. But now a local jurisdiction involved. We know the LA County Sheriff's Department is involved in that. They had an airship up over this pursuit for a time.
Well, and what they could do is bring in those big SWAT Bearcat sort of vehicles, which we often see in a standoff, and box in the vehicle even more. Those things can sustain a hit from a vehicle like that. That process can take hours of waiting somebody out. But clearly this driver is agitated. It is interesting, though, Rick, how aggressive the CHP was in there, breaking the window, basically coming to the conclusion that this thing is over, we're done with this.
A canine unit is a possibility.
Is there a radar on that window?
We're seeing a glare, too, so it's really hard to make out.
It's a bit of a reflection there.
Yeah, the reflection.
In recent years, we've seen drones be used to keep officers out of harm's way. They deploy a drone and put that drone right into the windshield so they can determine, officers can determine exactly what they're dealing with, how many people are in the vehicle, if that individual there does perhaps have some sort of weapon with he or she.
Or dogs. We've seen police canines
some sparks right
used
there.
in this sort of situation, too, that would run into the
coming
vehicle.
from the back tires.
So it's still gunning it in reverse, and it looks like there's some rubber there behind the vehicle, so it's likely that the tires in the back have now been dismantled quite a bit as well. But that vehicle, that SUV, that suspect is now going to be tried with the use of a deadly force in terms of using that vehicle. When you ram a police car, you ram a CHP unit and try to get away like that, you're putting those officers in danger. So that's going to be something that this individual will be written up for as well, in addition to just the evading police and the reckless driving and all the other counts that they're facing.
So now the officers are taking the posture where they're further back, it looks like, just because this suspect inside is not planning to give up and still trying to get away, if you can believe it. And so, Rick, they have these officers back. It looks like the other one in 216 is going into the unit. Obviously, they're strategizing as to what needs to be done. It looks like he just got a shotgun. Look at him running onto the property.
Yeah, they're trying to position themselves in such a way now where they're trying to get that perimeter.
Oh, my goodness.
As I told you, they mean business, and they know that this person is very unstable and could indeed have a weapon.
And I would bet a significant amount of money that that driver, it's not that person's first interaction with law enforcement, based off of the way that they are acting now. And it's also...
or is wanted for a very serious crime beyond the stolen vehicle.
Exactly. That they know something about who this driver is and know that this person is pretty dangerous based off of that sort of posture that we're seeing at this point.
And it becomes a waiting game. The longer we go here, it's going to become a waiting game. The longer that the suspect chooses not to give themselves up, then they start to think, all right, what's our next opportunity here? Are they making contact in any way with this individual via a cell phone? Does anybody know who's inside that vehicle that has contacted the officers, as I mentioned earlier? It looks like other units have arrived on scene from different agencies, including the LA County. They have units on the ground as well, local police. They're clearing the scene. You guys got to get out of here. They're setting up that perimeter, that safety line, a circle around this vehicle here, so that however this goes, they're going to be able to apprehend that individual. The time is on the officer's side. They may have to bring in the Bearcat, as you mentioned, Alex and Marley. They may have to bring in a crisis negotiator to try to get this individual to surrender. And unclear again, everybody at home, we don't know the gender of the suspect. We don't know much about he or she at all. We don't know if there's anybody else inside that vehicle. All of those questions have not been answered.
So some of the different techniques that we've seen in the past in this sort of situation, one being the Bearcat, another being smoke bombs, right? That can somebody be put into the vehicle to make it so uncomfortable for the person that they come out. We have seen police canines jump into a vehicle and essentially bite the driver to the point that they are so uncomfortable that they come out. We have seen shots fired into the vehicle in the past as well, if officers feel like they are themselves. And we've seen non-lethal rounds fired into vehicles. We've seen less, lethal rounds fired into vehicles as well.
The tire is still going, still trying to reverse.
And what we saw there when the shot was a bit wider was there was a couple of residents in the immediate backyard of where this pursuit came to an end, trying to get their phone up either through or up above the fence so they could record all this as it goes down. But little do they know, because they're below the top of the fence level, that there's an officer in front of them with a high-powered weapon that's pointing their way as well. And again, if you live anywhere near this situation or any situation that begins to come to a conclusion like this, where you see officers with guns drawn, listen to them. Do what you're told. put yourself and family in a safe spot there so that you don't become a victim of what could go down.
Look at this, the
mean,
grind.
what is this person thinking at this point?
Yeah,
Well,
they're not. They're not. You know, and they
overwhelmed.
just not. They're panicking.
Yeah.
Maybe a third striker. You know, we mentioned we have no idea the background, the criminal history of this individual. But the bottom line is he's locked in there. The suspect or she locked in there. That vehicle is not going to go anywhere. Officers have set up that perimeter. More units have arrived on scene. They're watching this from the air. Even if the individual decides to run, there's going to be enough resources on the ground there. I'm sure they have called in that canine unit because the dog will go right after the suspect, too, if they choose to run. But look at that, just gunning it in reverse there still. No more rubber on that tire either.
Yeah, and you wonder if this driver is under the influence of something. I mean, the way that they drove, they had a tremendous amount of focus to be able to drive this vehicle as long and as well as they did. But you wonder as well if there's something going on in their mind that may be impairing their judgment process at this point as well, and their decision not to give up.
All right, well, we do want to show you, if you happen to miss it, when this all came to an end in this cul-de-sac, when the driver got into the cul-de-sac, dead end, of course, and the officer's gun drawn initially, and then the baton came out from this officer. That deputy right there with the gun drawn who broke the window
and then
the
the
passenger side, right,
wow,
being smoked out. But now that particular deputy got back into one of those units, grabbed a long gun, and is now set up like a sniper across the way in that adjacent driveway. So that was a telling moment as well. As we look live at the scene now, I'm thinking about if I'm the owner of that black truck there and how concerned that person must be, because how unstable this whole situation is right there.
Not good for your truck, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah,
the wheels have stopped. The wheels have stopped for a moment. Now that officer who was set up in that sniper area is right there at the bottom left of your screen. So no longer in the bushes. You see that with the gun drawn?
And it's unlikely, as we saw this come to the pursuit end of this incident. The incident is far from over. It's not code 4. It's not all clear. But the vehicular side, at least from what we're seeing, is likely over, with the exception of that suspect remaining inside the vehicle. But that vehicle, it would be a miracle if it was able to get out of this situation and navigate itself through those 2 CHP units and all those that are there. It's unlikely, though, Alex and Marla, that the driver knew this neighborhood very well. Otherwise, because he pulled into this residential area, was trying to navigate their way around this area, and then came across this, a dead end, a cul-de-sac. That's where the vehicular component to this pursuit came to this standstill, this standoff. And there is that officer right there. The gun ready. The wheel has stopped, it looks like. Yep.
Yeah. That
back wheel has stopped, so perhaps they've taken the foot off the pedal there.
Okay, here comes another officer to help.
And we'll see. There's officers just all over, taking cover, circling the area, and
oftentimes we will take our cues based off of the body language of the officers on the ground, and the body language of the officers on the ground right now is tense.
It is. There's no question about it, and they are giving verbal commands at this point. They did make contact. The one officer made contact with that passenger side back window, was able to break through that. So I would think that there is enough of an opportunity that the individual inside that vehicle can hear the officer's commands at this point. Plus, they have the bullhorns and everything else that they can communicate with the suspect at this time. LA County Sheriff's Department involved in this, local municipalities, of course, the California Highway Patrol. They were the lead as this pursuit went on the freeway for a time, the 10 freeway. And there's the other units there, and this is a nice residential area of the San Gabriel Valley in Monterey Park here. But this is a standoff now, and sometimes these standoffs, as we've seen, Alex and Marla, go on for hours.
Well into the night. We've dealt with that. So this is Sombrero Drive and Avian Drive, as Rick just pointed out. This is Monterey Park, where this officially came to an end about maybe 15 minutes ago. We started at the top of the hour picking up the pursuit That was in initially East LA. Rick mentioned the freeway routes and now onto surface streets and then winding his or her way into the this residential area of Monterey Park. And you're seeing the shields come out now.
Yep. So they may be making a move here. And it depends what agency and what they're dealing with in how we see these incidents when it is a standoff come to an end. We see some agencies just go full force right away. We're going to end this. We're going inside that vehicle.
Here we go, approaching the driver's side.
Whoa, are they shooting out the window in the back?
Let's see what they decide to do.
Whoa,
here comes another baton.
Oh, to the front. Wow.
And they gave this suspect plenty of opportunities to give himself up. And no canine. Get out of the vehicle.
Does this?
And they're gonna
because they have to assume that
out.
this person is armed. This strategy.
There he goes.
Here we
door
go.
Open
the door.
And they're gonna pull this guy out. This is over. Sorry, we gave you plenty of opportunities to give yourself up peacefully. And there's officers surrounding the situation, and they're
this person's still not going.
Now they're they are obviously evading, trying to prevent being taken into custody here. It looked to be a male, and again, unclear if it's just the driver. 6
deputies, 1 suspect, it seems.
It doesn't appear like there's anybody else in that vehicle based off of the way that they're acting.
We're trying to get our helicopter around, and now opening up the back. It appears that the suspect, is struggling with the officers, just outside the driver's door there. And now the officers are in the back there because they have not cleared that vehicle of any other individuals. Now that back hatch is open, and now these officers, body language, standing down, and it appears that they have detained this suspect here. And once we see those 4 fingers,
gotten a good shot of the suspect yet.
On the ground, the suspect was. At least that's what we saw. Or is that? I can't tell if that. They've already brought the suspect over towards the vehicle right there, and they're leaning up against the hood of that. It looks like there's the suspect right there.
Okay,
that's
with
the
the
suspect
print
right there with the shirt,
on the black T-shirt with white print
with the T on it. With the logo of some sort on it. And now they're making sure that vehicle's cleared. They code for it. They make sure that that suspect is cuffed in a squad car and off to jail on their Friday night.
Well, thankfully, nobody was hit during all of that, and a successful conclusion to a long and dangerous and memorable pursuit here on the Fox 11 News Special Report. For the first time this hour at 6:48, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to reset. There's our look. There's the suspect. Let's take a look at him real quick.
Looks to be almost a juvenile.
A younger man there for sure. No other individuals inside that vehicle, and he really was trying to do whatever he could to get out of there, losing all the rubber on those tires.
Again, a stolen vehicle suspect there, that Dodge Durango. A look at that suspect, as Rick said, looks like a young man.